In the spaces between galaxies, where reality itself shimmers like disturbed water, the elder god Syleth materialized before their youngest apprentice. Astra, barely 1,000,000 years old, had never seen their mentor's ethereal form so troubled. The cosmic winds that usually danced around Syleth's crystalline structure now swirled in erratic patterns, betraying their unease. "You summon me with such urgency, mentor." Astra's thoughts rippled across the void. "What could disturb one as ancient as yourself?" Syleth's response came not in words but in images, a small blue planet spinning through space, seemingly insignificant among the countless worlds they oversaw. Yet something about this particular world made Astra's cosmic essence tremble. "This is their world," Syleth explained, their consciousness expanding to encompass the entire solar system. "The humans. They are different." Astra's curiosity piqued. They had observed countless species across the cosmos, from crystalline beings that lived within stars to vast gas forms that drifted between galaxies. What could make these humans worthy of such attention? "Different how?" Astra questioned, their form shifting closer to examine the planet Earth. "Watch," Syleth commanded, and suddenly the void around them filled with images from human history. Astra witnessed as primitive humans, armed with nothing but sharpened sticks, brought down creatures many times their size through coordination and planning. They saw humans survive in environments that should have killed them, using their minds to overcome their physical limitations. "But these are just basic survival skills," Astra observed. "Many species develop such abilities." Syleth's form darkened. "Keep watching." The images shifted to more recent history, humans facing disasters, wars, plagues, each time pushed to the brink of extinction, yet each time returning stronger. They saw humans dream of flight, then achieve it within a single century. They watched as humans looked up at the moon and simply decided they would walk upon it, turning that impossible dream into reality through sheer determination. "Do you see it now?" Syleth asked. "Other species evolve to survive. Humans survive to evolve. They don't accept limitations. They break them. They see impossibilities as challenges rather than barriers." Astra absorbed this information, their cosmic form flickering with confusion. "But surely their physical forms limit them. They are so fragile." Syleth's response carried a note of what might have been fear. "Their physical forms are precisely what makes them so dangerous. Because they are fragile, they learn to be strong. Because they are mortal, they burn with purpose. Because they can die, they live with an intensity that immortal beings like us can barely comprehend." The void filled with new images, humans building vast cities, developing technologies at an exponential rate, beginning to reach for the stars. In the span of what we would consider a mere moment, they went from cave drawings to quantum computing. Their rate of advancement is unprecedented. "But surely we could stop them if necessary," Astra suggested. "We are cosmic entities. They are merely." "Merely what?" Syleth interrupted, their form pulsing with intensity. "Merely clever apes who split the atom. Merely primitive beings who are already theorizing about manipulating space-time. Merely mortals who look at their own limitations and say no." Astra fell silent, watching as more images of human achievement and resilience filled the void. They saw humans face overwhelming odds again and again, yet refused to submit to what seemed like cosmic inevitability. "There is something else," Syleth continued, their form shifting uneasily. "Something that truly sets them apart. Other species we've encountered, when faced with extinction-level events, accept their fate. They might fight, they might struggle, but ultimately they submit to the cosmic order. Humans rage against it. They deny it. And somehow, through that denial, they change what should be possible." The images changed again, showing humans recovering from devastating disasters, rebuilding from ruins, refusing to accept defeat even when all hope seemed lost. "They have something we don't understand, something we can't quantify. They call it different things: spirit, determination, hope. But whatever it is, it allows them to defy the very laws of probability. Astra watched as a particular image formed, a human settlement devastated by a natural disaster. Instead of abandoning the area as would be logical, the humans rebuilt, stronger than before. They don't learn to avoid danger, Astra observed. They learn to overcome it. Precisely. Xylith's form pulsed with approval at their apprentice's understanding. And that is why they are dangerous. Every challenge we might present, every obstacle we might place in their path, would only make them stronger. They don't just adapt to survive. They adapt to thrive. The void around them cleared, returning to its natural state, but the images of humanity's relentless progress lingered in Astra's consciousness. What do we do about them? They asked finally. Xylith's response was heavy with the weight of cosmic wisdom. We watch, we wait, and most importantly, we learn. Because make no mistake, young one, humanity is not just another species taking its first steps into the cosmic arena. They are something new, something different, and perhaps something that even we, as eternal as we are, should fear. Fear. Astra's form flickered with surprise. But we are immortal. We are powerful. We err. We are set in our ways, Xylith interrupted. We are bound by our understanding of what is possible and what is not. Humans don't share these limitations. They dream, they imagine, they create. And in doing so, they reshape reality itself. As if to emphasize this point, Xylith conjured one final image. A human child looking up at the stars with wonder in their eyes. This is what makes them truly dangerous. Not their weapons, not their technology, not even their resilience. It's their ability to dream of impossibilities and then make them real. Remember this warning, young one. Remember it well. And as Astra watched that child's eyes shine with dreams of the cosmos, they finally understood their mentor's concern. For in that simple human gesture of looking up at the stars with wonder, they recognized something both beautiful and terrifying. A species that would never stop reaching for the impossible, never stop growing, never accept limitations. The cosmic wind swirled around them, carrying whispers of humanity's potential, and for the first time in their million years of existence, Astra felt something new, uncertainty about the future. For if humans could accomplish so much in such a short time, what might they become given the vastness of cosmic time? What impossibilities might they make possible? What boundaries might they break? The warning was clear. Humanity was not just another species to be observed and catalogued. They were a force of nature, a cosmic wild card, a species that defied the very rules of reality through sheer will and determination. And as Astra contemplated this, they realized that perhaps the greatest power humans possessed was not their technology or their resilience, but their unshakable belief that anything was possible if they simply refused to accept that it wasn't. The test was supposed to be simple. After their discussion about humanity's potential, Xylith had permitted Astra to conduct a small experiment, to present humanity with an impossible problem and observe their response. But as Astra watched the events unfold from their cosmic vantage point, they realized that with humans, nothing was ever simple. The chosen location was a remote research facility in Antarctica, where a team of scientists studied climate patterns. The facility itself was unremarkable, a collection of buildings huddled against the endless white, home to 37 humans who had dedicated their lives to understanding their planet's mysteries. Astra's test began subtly. They introduced an anomaly, a region of space-time that defied normal physics, creating a bubble where conventional technology simply ceased to function. In any rational universe, the humans would either abandon the facility or wait for the phenomenon to pass. Instead, they did something entirely unexpected. Dr. Sarah Chen, the facility's lead researcher, stood before her assembled team, their breath visible in the increasingly cold air as their heating systems failed. "We're not leaving," she announced, her voice firm despite the circumstances. "Whatever this phenomenon is, it's exactly the kind of mystery we're here to study." Astra watched in fascination as the humans organized themselves with remarkable efficiency. Instead of retreating from the challenge, they advanced toward it. They rigged mechanical equipment when their electronics failed. They developed new measurement tools using basic physics principles when their advanced sensors went dark. Fascinating, Astra communicated to Xylith, who had been observing silently. They're not just adapting. They're actively engaging with the impossible. The humans had divided into teams, each approaching the problem from different angles. One group worked on maintaining basic survival needs, innovating mechanical solutions for heat and power. Another studied the phenomenon itself, using increasingly creative methods to gather data. A third team focused on communications, finding ways to document their findings using technology that predated electronics. Dr. Chen led from the front, her determination inspiring her team. When their digital thermometers failed, she remembered reading about ancient Chinese seismologists who had used copper bowls filled with water to detect subtle changes in the earth. Within hours, her team had created a network of improvised sensors using similar principles. Look at how they share knowledge across their history, Xylith observed. They don't discard old solutions just because they found new ones. They keep everything, adapt everything. The breakthrough came on the seventh day. Dr. Marcus Rivera, a junior physicist, noticed something peculiar about the way sound behaved near the anomaly. It's not that our technology isn't working, he explained to his colleagues, his eyes bright with excitement. It's that the fundamental constants are different inside the field. We're not failing. We're trying to use the wrong rulebook. Astra watched in amazement as the humans began to map the new physics of the anomaly, not with advanced technology, but with rubber balls, string, and carefully timed sound pulses. They weren't just studying the phenomenon. They were beginning to understand it. They should be terrified. Astra communicated to their mentor. We've essentially created a space where their understanding of reality doesn't apply. And yet, Xylith responded, they seem almost excited. It was true. Despite the harsh conditions, despite the failure of their technology, despite the fundamental wrongness of what they were experiencing, the humans were energized. They had encountered something that defied their understanding of the universe, and instead of retreating, they embraced it as an opportunity to learn. By the 10th day, Dr. Chen's team had created a crude but effective map of the anomaly's properties. They had documented how different physical laws behaved within it, not with sophisticated equipment, but with ingenious mechanical devices and careful observation. They had even begun to theorize about practical applications for their discoveries. We should end the test, Astra suggested. They're getting too close to understanding. No, Xylith interrupted. Let's see what they do next. What they did next demonstrated exactly why humanity was so remarkable. Dr. Chen gathered her team for a crucial announcement. We've been thinking about this all wrong, she said, spreading out their hand-drawn maps and diagrams. We've been treating this anomaly as an obstacle to overcome. But what if it's not an obstacle at all? What if it's a door? The humans began to reorganize their approach. Instead of trying to defeat or contain the anomaly, they started trying to understand how to use it. They constructed simple machines that could function within its altered physics. They developed new mathematical models to describe its properties. They began to see possibilities where even cosmic entities like Astra had only seen problems. This is what you warned me about, isn't it? Astra asked their mentor. This ability of theirs to turn obstacles into opportunities. Yes, Xylith responded, their cosmic form shimming with what might have been pride. But watch what happens next. This is the truly remarkable part. Dr. Chen's team had begun to experiment with the boundary between normal spacetime and the anomaly. They discovered that by carefully controlling the interaction between the two regions, they could create effects that should have been impossible. They weren't just adapting to the anomaly. They were learning to harness it. Should we stop them? Astra asked, growing concerned as the humans drew closer to discoveries that could fundamentally change their understanding of the universe. It's too late, Xylith responded. Don't you see? The moment we created this test, we gave them a puzzle to solve. And humans never leave puzzles unsolved. They never walk away from mysteries. They never accept limitations. As if to prove this point, Dr. Chen's team made their final breakthrough. They had created a device, primitive by cosmic standards, but remarkable in its ingenuity, that could stabilize the boundary between normal spacetime and the anomaly. They weren't just surviving the impossible. They were mastering it. The test is over, Sci-Fi announced, and with a thought, they'd dissolved the anomaly, returning the facility to normal. The humans would remember their experience, but the direct evidence of their breakthrough would be gone. But they were so close to, Astra began, to changing their understanding of the universe. Sci-Fi finished. Yes, they were. And they will be again. That's what makes them unique. That's what makes them dangerous. That's what makes them human. As they watched the facility return to normal operations, Astra realized that what had been intended as a simple test had become something else entirely, a demonstration of humanity's most remarkable quality. Their ability to face the impossible not with fear, but with curiosity, determination, and an unshakable belief that every problem had a solution, even if they had to rewrite the rules of reality to find it. In the wake of the Antarctic incident, the Council of Elder Gods had grown increasingly interested in humanity's responses to adversity. They dispatched observers across the globe, each tasked with monitoring different human communities facing their own unique challenges. What they witnessed would forever change their understanding of this remarkable species. High in the Himalayas, a small village faced imminent destruction from a massive glacial lake that threatened to burst its banks. The humans there had no advanced technology, no resources beyond what their modest means provided. Yet when Astra arrived to observe, they found the villagers had already begun an ambitious project. Led by an elderly engineer named Karma Windy, the village had developed an ingenious system of channels and barriers, using nothing but local materials and generations-old knowledge of the mountain's behavior. They worked tirelessly, each person contributing according to their abilities, from the youngest children carrying small stones to the oldest elders sharing their wisdom about the mountain's moods. They're not just trying to survive. Astra communicated to Sci-Fi, who was observing other locations. They're trying to ensure their descendants never face this threat again. Meanwhile, in a drought-stricken region of sub-Saharan Africa, another human community faced what should have been certain doom. Their wells had run dry, their crops were failing, and modern aid seemed unlikely to arrive in time. Yet instead of surrendering to despair, they turned to innovation. A young woman named Amara Okafor had remembered stories her grandmother told her about how their ancestors had found water in the desert. Combining this traditional knowledge with her own background in geology, she led her community in an ambitious water-finding project. They mapped the land using techniques that blended ancient wisdom with modern understanding, eventually discovering an underground aquifer that had gone unnoticed by conventional surveys. Notice how they weave together the old and the new, Sci-Fi observed. They don't discard their history when they advance. They build upon it. In the Pacific, a small island nation faced rising seas that threatened to swallow their home entirely. The logical choice would have been to evacuate, to accept the inevitable. Instead, the islanders, led by marine biologist Dr. Tavita Manu, began an ambitious project to save their home. They started growing coral in carefully planned formations, creating natural barriers against the rising tides. They developed floating gardens to ensure food security, adapting ancient agricultural techniques to their new reality. What began as a desperate measure to survive became a model for other threatened island communities. They don't just solve problems, Astra noted. They create solutions that help others facing similar challenges. But it was in a small town in the American Midwest where the observers witnessed perhaps the most remarkable demonstration of human resilience. The town had been devastated by a series of natural disasters that had destroyed most of its infrastructure. Insurance companies had declared the area too risky to rebuild. Banks had refused loans. By any rational calculation, the town should have been abandoned. Instead, the townspeople, led by high school science teacher Laura Martinez, began to rebuild in ways that defied conventional wisdom. They didn't just restore what was lost, they reimagined what their community could be. They created innovative water management systems, developed community-owned renewable energy projects, and established a resilient food system that could withstand future disasters. They treat catastrophe as an opportunity for improvement, one of the younger observers noted with amazement. Where we see endings, they see beginnings. The council continued their observations, watching as humans across the globe faced and overcame challenges that should have broken them. In every case, the pattern was the same. Faced with impossible odds, humans didn't just survive. They innovated, adapted, and emerged stronger. A fishing community in Southeast Asia, their traditional grounds depleted by industrial trawlers, developed a revolutionary sustainable fishing method that actually increased marine biodiversity. A neighborhood in South America, cut off from the power grid, created their own microgrid using a combination of solar power and reclaimed materials. A small town in Eastern Europe, poisoned by industrial waste, transformed itself into a pioneer of bioremediation. Do you understand now? Sci-Fi asked the assembled observers. This is why they are different. This is why they are dangerous. They don't just overcome obstacles, they transform them into advantages. The observers watched as these communities, facing challenges that should have ended them, instead grew stronger, more resilient, more innovative. They saw how humans shared their solutions, how success in one place inspired adaptation and innovation in others. They witnessed the emergence of a species-wide pattern, face the impossible, refuse to accept defeat, find a way forward, share the solution. But surely there must be a limit, one of the younger observers argued. Surely there must be some challenges they cannot overcome. Sci-Fi's response was troubled. That's what makes them truly remarkable. They don't accept limits. When faced with the impossible, they don't try to overcome it. They redefine what's possible. As if to emphasize this point, they watched as the Himalayan village's solution was adapted by communities in the Andes, how the African community's water-finding techniques spread across continents, how the Pacific Islanders' innovations inspired coastal communities worldwide. Humanity wasn't just solving problems. They were evolving, collectively, in response to challenges. We've been asking the wrong question, Astra realized. We've been asking what humans can survive. We should have been asking what they can become. The observers fell silent, contemplating the implications. They had watched humanity face floods, droughts, storms, and disaster. They had seen them tackle problems that should have been beyond their capabilities. But most importantly, they had witnessed something unprecedented in the cosmos, a species that grew stronger not despite adversity, but because of it. This observation phase has shown us something crucial. Sci-Fi concluded. Humanity doesn't just persist. They don't just adapt. They transform, and in doing so, they transform the very nature of what's possible. This is why they must be watched. This is why they must be understood. Because in their determination to overcome every obstacle, they may reshape the very fabric of reality itself. The Grand Council chamber of the Elder Gods trembled with barely contained energy as the most powerful beings in existence gathered to discuss what many had begun to call the human problem. The void between stars rippled with their concern as images of humanity's recent achievements floated between them. They've begun to reach for the stars. The Elder God Myrith's voice resonated through space-time. Their form, a cascade of ever-shifting geometric patterns, pulsed with urgency as they projected images of human space programs, satellites, and interplanetary probes. That's hardly unprecedented, countered Vex, their consciousness spanning multiple dimensions. Many species reach for the stars. Most fail. Sci-Fi, who had been observing humanity most closely, moved to the center of the gathering. Their form cast shadows across realities as they spoke. You don't understand. They're not just reaching, they're planning. Look, the space between them filled with projections, underground bases on Mars, blueprints for space elevators, designs for generation ships, theories about faster-than-light travel. But most disturbing to the assembled gods were the questions humans were beginning to ask about the nature of reality itself. They're starting to understand quantum mechanics at a fundamental level. Astra added, their younger perspective carrying a note of wonder rather than fear. They're questioning the very fabric of space-time. They're theorizing about multiple dimensions, about the nature of consciousness itself. The chamber erupted in a chaos of overlapping thoughts and emotions. Some elder gods argued for immediate intervention, others for containment, while a few suggested that humanity should be studied further. You don't see the real danger. Xyleth's voice cut through the chaos. Look at their pattern of advancement. They projected a timeline of human progress, from the first stone tools to the latest quantum computers. It's not linear. It's not even exponential. It's something else entirely. The assembled gods watched in silence as the pattern became clear. Every obstacle humanity faced didn't just lead to a solution. It led to a fundamental leap in understanding. Every challenge they overcame didn't just make them stronger. It transformed them. They're approaching a critical point, Myrith observed, their form dimming with concern. Their rate of advancement is becoming unstable. Precisely, Xyleth agreed. But that's not the most troubling part. Show them, Astra. The younger god projected a new set of images. Humans working on artificial intelligence, on biotechnology, on manipulating the quantum realm. They're not just advancing technologically, Astra explained. They're actively working to transcend their own limitations. They're trying to understand consciousness itself, to merge with their machines, to reshape their very nature. Many species attempt this, Vex dismissed. All fail. No. Xyleth's response carried the weight of terrible certainty. You're not seeing the pattern. Other species attempt to transcend their limitations through technology alone. Humans are different. They're not just building tools, they're evolving their consciousness. They're not just creating technology, they're forming a symbiotic relationship with it. The chamber filled with new projections. Humans using brain-computer interfaces, developing artificial intelligence that worked in partnership with human consciousness, creating technologies that didn't just serve them, but grew with them. They're approaching what they call the technological singularity. Astra explained. But it's more than that. It's a consciousness singularity. They're not just building better tools. They're expanding the very nature of what it means to be human. The elder gods watched as humans pushed the boundaries of what should be possible. They saw them questioning the nature of reality, developing theories that came dangerously close to understanding the true structure of the cosmos. We've seen enough, declared Myrith. They must be stopped before they advance further. It's not that simple, Xyleth countered. Look at their history. Every attempt to stop human advancement has only spurred them to greater achievements. Every obstacle we place in their path becomes a stepping stone to new understanding. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. These beings, who had watched galaxies form and die, who had shepherded countless species through their evolution, found themselves faced with something unprecedented. A species that didn't just grow stronger through adversity, but fundamentally transformed itself. Then what do you suggest? Vex demanded. We cannot allow them to continue unchecked. They're approaching understandings that no mortal species should possess. Perhaps, Astra ventured, their younger perspective offering a different view. That's exactly why they should be allowed to continue. Perhaps this is what we've been waiting for, a species that can bridge the gap between the mortal and the divine. The chamber erupted again, but this time the debate had shifted. It was no longer about whether humanity should be stopped, but about what their emergence meant for the cosmic order itself. They're not just advancing. Xyleth observed quietly as the debate raged around them. They're becoming something new, something we've never seen before. And perhaps, Perhaps that's exactly what the universe needs. As the elder gods continued their debate, Earth spun below them, its inhabitants unaware that their very nature was being discussed by beings they couldn't comprehend. Yet in laboratories, in universities, in garages and workshops across the planet, humans continued to push boundaries, to ask questions, to seek understanding. "We must make a decision," Myrith finally declared. "The future of the cosmic order itself may depend on what we do next." The chamber fell silent once more, the fate of humanity hanging in the balance. But as the elder gods prepared to vote on humanity's future, a new question began to form in their ancient minds. What if humanity wasn't a threat to the cosmic order, but the next step in its evolution? The moment of contact was not what any of the elder gods had expected. It came not through some grand cosmic intervention, but through the quiet breakthrough of a human physicist working late in her laboratory. Dr. Elena Santos had been studying quantum entanglement when she noticed something impossible, a pattern in the quantum foam that suggested consciousness itself might be fundamental to the universe's structure. In that moment, she glimpsed something no human was meant to see: the true nature of reality, and the beings who had been watching humanity's progress with growing concern. The elder gods felt the ripple of her discovery spread across the cosmos. It was too late to hide, too late to intervene. Humanity had reached out and touched the fabric of reality itself, and in doing so, had forced the hand of beings they weren't supposed to know existed. Dilith materialized in Elena's laboratory, their cosmic form condensed into something her human mind could comprehend without breaking. But what happened next shocked even this ancient being. Elena didn't cower, didn't run, didn't break down in the face of something that defied human understanding. Instead, she smiled. "I've been wondering when you'd show yourselves," she said, her voice steady despite the shimmering entity before her. "The quantum patterns were too perfect to be natural. You've been watching us, haven't you?" Across the planet, similar scenes played out as humans in different fields, philosophers, mathematicians, physicists, even artists and mystics, simultaneously reached the same recognition. Humanity had collectively pushed against the boundaries of reality until those boundaries pushed back. The Council of Elder Gods convened one final time, but now they were no longer merely observing. They were facing a species that had done the impossible, forced beings of pure cosmic energy to reveal themselves through sheer determination to understand the universe. "You see now why we feared them." Myrith addressed the council. "They didn't just discover us. They made us reveal ourselves through their relentless pursuit of knowledge." But Astra, watching the humans' reactions across the globe, saw something different. "Look at how they're responding," they urged the council. "Not with fear, not with worship, but with curiosity." It was true. As news of the elder gods' existence spread across human communication networks, the predominant response wasn't panic or reverence. It was an overwhelming desire to understand. Humans began forming research teams, developing new theories, asking questions that even the elder gods had never considered. "This is unprecedented," Vex observed, their multidimensional form fluctuating with uncertainty. "They should be overwhelmed by our existence. Instead, they're trying to understand us as equals." Dr. Santos had already begun developing new mathematical models to describe the elder god's nature, working with colleagues across multiple disciplines. Other humans were proposing theories about the relationship between consciousness and reality that came frighteningly close to the truth. "We can't stop them now," Xylith stated, their form resonating with what might have been amusement. "They've seen us. And you know what humans do when they see something new. They study it, understand it, and eventually master it." The council watched as humanity began to grasp the implications of their existence. Instead of shattering their worldview, this knowledge was being integrated into human understanding, becoming a stepping stone to even greater revelations. "Perhaps," Astra suggested, "this is why they're different. Other species reach for the stars hoping to find gods. Humans reach for the stars prepared to become them." The truth of this observation resonated through the cosmic void. Humanity had never been content to simply exist within the universe. They sought to understand it, to shape it, to become one with it. The very qualities that had made the elder gods fear them were what made them unique among all species they had encountered. Dr. Santos stood before a global conference of scientists, philosophers, and leaders. Behind her, complex equations and diagrams filled massive screens, humanity's first attempts to map the true structure of reality. "We stand at a crossroads," she announced. "We've discovered that we're not alone in the cosmos. But more importantly, we've discovered that consciousness itself is fundamental to reality. The elder gods aren't our superiors. They're our teachers, showing us what we might become." The elder gods watched this broadcast, along with countless others across the planet, as humanity began to grapple with their new reality. But instead of the chaos they had feared, they'd witnessed something remarkable. Humans were adapting, growing, evolving their understanding at an unprecedented rate. "We were wrong," Xylith finally admitted to the council. "We thought we needed to decide humanity's fate, but they've already decided it for themselves. They're not a threat to the cosmic order. They're its next evolution." The council chamber filled with images of human achievement, their art, their science, their philosophy, their endless capacity for growth and adaptation. But now these achievements were seen in a new light, not as warning signs of a dangerous species, but as the birth pangs of something new in the cosmos. "They dream," Astra observed, "not just of touching the stars, but of understanding them. Not just of meeting gods, but of comprehending them. Their greatest strength isn't their resilience or their adaptability. It's their unshakable belief that everything can be understood, given enough time and determination." As the elder gods watched, humanity began its next great journey, not just to the stars, but toward a new understanding of reality itself. They were no longer simply observers of the cosmic dance, but active participants in it. "So what do we do now?" Myrith asked, their ancient form shimmering with uncertainty. Xylith's response carried the weight of cosmic wisdom. "We do what we should have done from the beginning. We learn from them. Because in their brief existence, they discovered something that we, in all our eons, had forgotten. The universe isn't just to be observed. It's to be understood, questioned, and ultimately transformed. That's not just humanity's destiny. Perhaps it was always meant to be ours as well." And as the elder gods watched humanity take its first steps into this new era, they finally understood why they had been right to fear humans. Not because humans would destroy the cosmic order, but because they would transform it, just as they transformed everything they encountered. In the end, the greatest power of humanity wasn't their technology, their adaptability, or even their determination. It was their ability to dream of a better universe, and their unshakable belief that they could help create it.